Hi, welcome to Accounting with Vernon, your journey to success with Edexcel for Unit 2 Corporate and Management Accounting. We have been discussing the first chapter of the syllabus, that was the capital structure. So far, through my contents, I have given you enough knowledge and understanding about the issue of shares, the bonus issue of shares, the rights issue of shares, and the redemption of shares. Now it's time for us to look back to see how to get a better understanding of what the examiner is going to test us on, what the examiner is going to evaluate us on in the exam questions. So today I'm going to take your lesson towards an exam oriented question that's been tested by the Edexcel exam. So usually when we see this capital structure lesson, we see the examiner can be testing you on either the issue of shares on through journal entries or ledger accounts, or it could be a question where he is going to test you on to prepare the statement of changes in equity. Okay, so once you have studied all the lessons that are relevant for the capital structure, then you can look at how to prepare the statement of changes in equity. So if you have been following my channel, you can see I'm taking you through a certain program where you will be able to sit for your exams in October and gain good results for the Edexcel Unit 2. So far, if you have not subscribed my channel, please do subscribe it, like it, share it, and also comment as to from where you are watching this video and your school, because I am looking at students in Sri Lanka, Qatar, India, and all the other countries which are following the Edexcel specification. So please do once again share it, comment on it. Please let me know what areas you need more help and how can I help you in future. Today I'm going to take you through a past paper question 2023 January question number 2. 2023 January question number 2. So the question covers a wide variety of things that we have studied about the issue of shares, redemption of shares, transfers to reserves, and part of dividends as well. So if you look at the question, you can see the question is, this is Asiatic Investments PLC, 22 marks question. Prepare the statement of changes in equity in the question paper, right? So there are some transactions that have been given: enter the balances, transfer to reserves, dividends, revaluation, redemption, again a transfer, again an interim dividend, and the final year the profit amounts. So you'll have to complete the table in the question paper if you want to get the 22 marks. Let's go through the question very carefully. The first adjustment is enter the balances, which I have already done for you. So the enter the balances, the transaction column here. We have got an ordinary share capital, which has got a 600 million opening balance, a share premium 180 million, retained earnings 116 million, general reserve 4 million, foreign exchange reserve 3 million, and then the examiner wants you to create these two columns and put a suitable heading, which we'll see at that moment, also to show the total equity at last. Okay, this is the statement of changes in equity. So to do this, students will have to have a thorough understanding of the whole lesson that we have covered so far. You cannot have bits and pieces. You need to have the whole information if you are going to get the 22 marks for this question. So that's why I said accounting, you need to follow the steps, you need to get the knowledge, you need to have the understanding, right? Opening balances we have already inserted. Adjustment number 2. 16 January 22, a transfer of 2 million was made from the retained earnings to the foreign exchange reserve to cover investment movements in the currency. So it's a transfer between the reserves, a transfer. You're going to transform your revenue from your retained earnings to your foreign exchange reserve. How much is the transaction? Your transfer is 2 million. The transfer is 2 million. So therefore, I will take it out from the retained earnings. When I take it out from the retained earnings, 2 million goes out, so it will be minus 2. Minus 2. It is going towards the foreign exchange reserve, so it will be plus 2. It goes out of the retained earnings minus 2. It goes to the foreign exchange reserve, that will be plus 2. Any change in total equity? No, because it is in between the two reserves itself. Number 3, 4th February, a final dividend for 2025 of 0.023 pounds per share was paid for all shareholders. Right. How to find the dividends? We are having 600 million ordinary shares into the dividends declared is 0.023. Okay, 0.023 pounds. Therefore, the dividends will come into 13.8. 13.8. So when a company declares dividends, dividends has to go out of the profits, that is out of your retained earnings, right? So your retained earnings is going to be less by the dividends amount. How much was that? That was 13.8. 13.8. So 13.8, I will minus from the retained earnings 13.8, minus from the retained earnings 13.8. Now comes the interesting part. If the retained earnings are minus by 13.8, does it affect the total equity? Does it affect the total equity? Yes, it does. Why? Because your retained earnings are getting less, revenue reserves are going down. Therefore, your total equity is also going to be minus by 13.8. Your total equity is going to be minus by 13.8. Clear? Very easy. Dividends calculated, minus from the retained earnings, and also it goes out from the total equity. Adjustment number 4. This is 2023 January, question number 2. Okay. Past paper questions we are now discussing because we have finished all the major areas. So now we enter the past paper questions. Property that had been brought for about 2 years ago for 64 million was revalued to its market value. So 15% increase in the property value. 64 million into 15%, you will get how much? 64 million into 15%, that will be 9.6. 9.6. So revaluation, the examiner wanted you to rename the column. So I have created A as a revaluation reserve. So the revaluation reserve is going to increase by 9.6, right? So revaluation, I have a new column for revaluation, that will be plus 9.6 because it is going to be revalued by 9.6, going to increase by 9.6. When this increases by 9.6, this is a capital reserve, my total equity will also increase by 9.6. Clear? We have revalued the property, 9.6, it has gone up. When it goes up, definitely the total equity has to go up. Clear? Very easy. Redemption. My previous chapter was completely on redemption, isn't it so? So, ordinary shares are redeemed at a premium of 30 pence. Share redemption, we are redeeming 50 million ordinary shares. So, when you redeem shares, it has to go out of the ordinary share capital because we are buying back the shares. Therefore, your ordinary share capital is going to be minus 50. The nominal value of the shares minus 50. What's the share premium? 30 pence premium. So 50 pence, 0.3 per 30 pence into 50 will be 15. 15. It has to go out of the share premium as well. So minus share premium minus 15. Okay. Now, anywhere in the question have you come across that there was a new issue of shares for this purpose, for the redemption? No. I taught you very clearly, if the shares are being redeemed, without any issue of shares, there should be a CRR. There should be a CRR. Okay. So the CRR has to be created. CRR has to be created. The total, there was nothing mentioned. There's no information in the question about new issue of shares. Therefore, my CRR is going to be created using the revenue reserve, isn't it so? Therefore, minus 65. That's the total amount of money that has gone out of the company because of the redemption. I create my column B as the capital redemption reserve. 65 minus from the retained earnings. 65 plus to the capital redemption reserve. 65 plus to the capital redemption reserve. Retained earnings minus 65 because we are debiting the retained earnings. CRR is credited by 65. Clear? Question. What's the Impact on the total equity. What's the impact on the total equity? Your total equity is going to be minus by 65 because your capital, ordinary share capital, your share premium is reducing by 65. Therefore, your total equity also goes down by 65. Clear? Simple to understand. Sixth adjustment. All of the general reserve transfer retained earnings. All of the general reserve. Here's the general reserve. All of it means 4. So your transfer you'll be having minus 4 here. Where is it going to? It's going to the retained earnings. Therefore, it becomes plus 4. Isn't it so? Minus on the general reserve, it goes to the retained earnings plus 4. Again, there's a dividend. An interim dividend for 2022 of 0.45 pence per share. Now we are not having 600 million, we have only 550 million. So your dividends is now going to be based on 550 million into your dividends is 0.45. How much will be that? How much will be that? How much will be that? Your dividends for that will be 2.475. Okay. So 2.475 is going to be your dividends. What happens? When you declare your dividends, it has to go out of the retained earnings. Therefore, I will minus 2.475 minus 2.475. Yeah, minus 2.75. Reserves are decreasing. Equity also has to decrease by 2.475. Clear? Your retained earnings is minus by 2.475. Same way your total equity has to be reduced by 2.475. The last adjustment, the profit for the year ended 31st December was 11 million. So 11 million, your profit for the year, retained earnings will increase by 11. Same way your equity will also increase by 11. Your equity also increase by 11. So you can see now, if you balance this column, you should be able to find how much is going to be your total balances end of the year. So what will be the balances? If I balance these columns, I can see now I'm having share capital 550 because of the redemption, share premium 165 because of the premium on redemption, and I started my retainers 116. With all these adjustments, right now it will go down to 47.725. General reserve, nothing. Foreign exchange reserve has gone up to 5. My revaluation reserve is 9.6. My CRR is 65. And my total equity at 31st December will be now 842.325. So I started from 903. With the transactions that happen here and there, my revenue reserve has my total equity has changed slightly during the year. So this is how the exam will be tested. There are so many questions of Edexcel where you'll have to prepare the statement of changes in equity. So this question covered a lot of areas: transfers, dividends, redemption, revaluation, right? You can do a question like this only if you understood the theory behind the issue of shares, the rights issue, the bonus issue, which are there in the other past paper questions, right? So this is a journey that we are going. You have to follow exactly the theory properly. You have to understand what is being done. Then you will find the lessons becoming easier and easier for you to get a good grade in the Edexcel exam, right? So once again, this is a thing that I'm creating for my fellow students in Sri Lanka, India, Middle East, or wherever you are studying your Edexcel. So please follow my channel, subscribe it, share it with the others, comment on it, ask your questions. I'll get back to you because I'm ready to answer your questions. Okay. Only if you ask questions and you get your doubts clear, you can get a good grade in your exam. I'm ready to help you. And also please comment from where you are following me. What is your country and what is your school, so that I have an exact idea of what is happening from the viewers who are going through my channel, right? So what are we going to study next? Next is going to be another question to finish our lesson of capital structure. Stay tuned with me and I will be joining you soon within a couple of days. Thank you very much.